So I'm halfway through enough rewrites to have some more pages out, but I'm going to go see The Cure tomorrow, and I've got
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
So say hello to Robert for me.
I've got a friend, actually. Oh, yeah. Never mind. We're live. I'm not going to talk about my friends in England.
Okay. Yeah, don't do that. All right.
We are live, right?
We are, yeah.
I saw the big green thing before I said something potentially embarrassing or weird.
There you go. That's good.
It's not a good way to start a stream anyway.
That's not. All right, so we got a whole bunch of scripts tonight. We got Moon Baby. Well, Larry's not here yet, so we got to wait for him. We got Kyler with AT first. All right, so the first half. All right, Kyler, why don't you, because I may have to jump off here for a few minutes, why don't you present?
Walk us through the changes that you made and then ask us more questions.
Right.
And we can give you some very specific advice because your book's very done.
Yeah.
Yep. Let me try to find it here. Hang on.
Okay.
Do you want me to put on editing hat and take over, Preston? Like, are you going to deal with your call?
I mean, only when it comes in.
Copy that.
Which could be any time, or no time at all, or not at all. By the way, in 5 hours, something very special happens. I will turn 50, and I'm really looking forward to being
Happy birthday.
old. I've always wanted to be this old, so that I could, have death right around the corner. And there we go.
Well, you have survived this long, so I feel like that's a huge win.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Kyler, are you ready to share Alien Pterodactyls?
I brought it up. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I have 1,000 tabs open. How do I choose what?
All right. So you click on present, and then you go share screen.
Sure.
And then you go, see, there should be like tab window and entire screen. So you typically want to share tab if it's on a tab, and then share the tab.
Okay, hang on. Let me see.
There you go.
It doesn't give me that option, but I'll just share my screen. Oh, okay. Select window or screen.
Yeah, Chrome is a little handier in that regard, in that it'll say Chrome
you
tab.
could open it up in like Acrobat and just share that window. We don't want to see whatever porn you have on in the background.
Please none of that.
Hang on, I gotta even find it now. I have too many tabs open.
By the way, John, congratulations on your campaign crossing $12,000 today. So very good.
For the second time. It was 12,000 like 2 days ago, and
bastards. Anyway.
And then I had a bunch of big backers leave and a bunch of big backers down pledge their.
Yeah,
that happens a lot. I feel.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
I've noticed it a couple times on my campaigns, and I don't know what people that is, but at least you're hitting the goal early.
Whenever that happens, I just send them a message. I'm like, "What the hell is your effing problem, dumbass?"
No,
is that verbatim, Preston?
Yeah.
I did a little backup. I had posted an update. If you saw my update that I posted yesterday or the day before,
right?
It was basically thank you for everybody for sticking around, because that was when I went. That's when it dropped, when it was at 12,000 and dropped back down to 11, like 11.4 or 11.6, and I was like, sad face.
Yeah. All right, here we are.
You guys see?
Yes. All right. So I notice you are sticking with the mature 17 plus on the cover.
You really shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So that was the first note. There's only the first half of the book, obviously, that I shared with you guys. The very next page after the one that we've seen here is mature. So there is a reason.
By mature, do you mean nipples? Because those are definitely appropriate for children.
Yeah.
Well, it's appropriate for European children.
They are literally designed for children.
At this point,
not according to half of America.
Look, given the state of American education at this point, I think, that battle's just been lost. Sadly.
Well,
I'm so glad
I did have that. I had that cutout of the Garvey Ice Witch at my last Comic-Con, and I had a little kid just sitting there staring up at the cutout, and then the mom comes over and is like, "Oh, he must be hungry," and then she starts feeding him.
There you go.
Awesome. There we go. Okay.
So
Well,
whether
my comment mostly about the mature 17 is like, unless you're going like borderline NC-17, I think you're going to be promising more than you're delivering. If you're just going
Sleepwalkers, and I don't have a label like that.
Well, so this first book has, it has some scenes with nudity, but the second book in the series is really where it gets crazy, where the dude's like fucking a pterodactyl from behind.
Okay.
I mean, do you see genitalia in that scene?
Okay.
Because if you don't,
well, it hasn't been drawn yet, so
there you go.
Well,
so I would only label it 17.
I'm gonna stick with the
comic.
It's your comic. If that's how you want to label it, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it as is. If I overpromise people, that's fine.
I am going to remind
But cool.
you,
So let's start it up.
That one of the nice things about being a kid and like a teenager through a lot of the 90s was like, ooh, let's go see this R-rated stuff.
Yes.
With like a bunch of F-bombs and like a couple pairs of tits. And like that was all like
back when it meant something.
Sure, but that was also stuff that made it more exciting.
Yes.
And so having that be a pleasant surprise instead of a disappointment, I think is the way to go. So I'm agreeing with John.
Yeah. Unless you're showing genitalia, then maybe.
Okay.
No, not really.
Massive prologue, and is that Anime Ace all caps?
No, this is the main one from my my comic. It's called Back Issue.
Oh yeah, that's a fine font.
I think it's a Blamblot font, I believe.
It is. It's the one that I used to use before Danny took over my lettering. It's
Back Issue is actually fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfectly serviceable font.
It's a little bit blocky for your content, but that's on you.
And then I upgraded this one. You guys see at the top. I upgraded like the alien text to this one. I believe it's called The World. But anyway, we'll get into that. So I'll go ahead and read it, and then we can continue on. So I noticed you guys didn't have a lot of this little back part. You're asking about the alien pterodactyls, but the main thing is it says alien pterodactyls on the front cover. That's the name of the book. And the first scene is an alien pterodactyl ripping a girl open. So I didn't think I needed to explain that there's alien pterodactyls, but the prologue actually does a little bit. So I'll go ahead and read this. From the forgotten depths of time, a slumbering seed has stirred. An enigmatic extraterrestrial race has brought forth the breed of pterodactyls imbued with a power that lay dormant for aeons. But now, in the bleak year of 2125, from the ruins of an apocalyptic America, these wondrous creatures have awoken, bearing the mark of an otherworldly origin. Amidst the desolation of this new world, a tiny band of human survivors has taken up arms. From the heart of the southwestern desert, they emerge, ready to face the ultimate challenge, for they are humanity's last chance. Will they succeed in their desperate mission, or will they be swept away by the forces of chaos that threaten to engulf them all? Only time will tell.
Pausing you there, you have a comma that you don't need after race on line 3 of paragraph 1. Paragraph 1, line 3, comma, after race. So that comma doesn't need to be there. And also you need to stop paragraph 2 after chance on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because,
right here.
Will they succeed in their desperate mission? That's literally what your story's about.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kyler, press F11.
Right, I just think this was like a cool movie screen thing. What's that?
Yeah, no, it is. Stop it after chance, because it's not the back of a VHS box. It's a comic, and you want them to flip the page, not to read your pitch.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So you have
Sounds good.
all the information they need to flip the page.
Yep.
Kyler.
John, what did you say?
He said press F11.
Press F11.
F11.
I don't have any F buttons.
It'll be above the minus sign on your keyboard.
I gotta do control, right? Control F11.
No, just F11.
I think they want you to zoom in.
No, it'll make his browser full screen and get rid of all that other crap.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
what I was going for. Just looks cleaner.
For
Yes.
credits.
Yay.
Space for credits and cut.
Space.
And this I already fixed this on my other version, but I didn't save the PDF, so that doesn't go to the edge of the screen for some reason. I did remove the dangly thing that no one liked. I removed that on all of them. I changed the font here.
On the first panel, it was a problem when I realized that was actually in your text box. If that's actually the space beyond the ruins of Albuquerque, New Mexico, sure, point us there on panel 1. That wasn't the problem.
Okay.
But you still have 2 different caption styles.
Yeah, so this one is the aliens talking. You won't find that out till the end of book 2. But that's why it has like kind of a weird font and it's in these like futuristic style panels. So these are my, time and place and regular captions. I have a different one for the editorial caption, and then these are actually the aliens speaking. So we'll find that out in issue 2. So I know it's a little weird for issue 1, but there's a reason it's like that.
Well, that's fine. Is there a different font for your dialogue? Because that looks like
that's a dialogue font.
I mean,
this one is the dialogue font.
The dialogue font.
Right. Your caption should be separate from your dialogue font. And then if you want a separate font for your aliens, then that should be a separate font. And if you want a separate font for
the
your
aliens do have a separate font.
Well, right. Yep. What I'm saying is right now his captions and dialogue are going to be the same.
I'm okay with it because he's got the boxes. That's not a deal breaker.
All right.
Like if you've got time, pick a better font, do something cool. If you don't have time, that's fine.
Okay. Are we going to read through all of it or just you guys? Yeah, I haven't changed any of the text, so.
Tell us what changes you have made because we read through it all last week.
So I added this. I added this panel here because you guys didn't seem to pick up that he just harpooned the thing.
Well, that's because you didn't tell us he just harpooned them. You do now. Way to go.
Right, but I'm saying is like, the artwork shows it. I added a.
Talking.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the tail of the balloon be pointed at the speaker's face?
Added that. I harpooned.
I mean, it's kind of pointed at the speaker's face. The speaker's just real small.
I mean, it looks like it's pointed at his foot.
It does look like
it also looks like it's a tangent to his foot.
Yeah.
Which is worse.
Okay, I could bring that up a little bit to like right here. Yeah.
Well, but then we'd be cutting him in half.
Yeah, just have it shorter and pointed at his face.
There you go.
Okay. I changed this to italic instead of the regular font, and I made them smaller inside. I'm sorry?
That's what you're supposed to do for
radio.
For radio stuff.
Yeah, so originally I had it coming out of the balloon. I thought it looked cool. I was trying to like do
terribly illegible and ugly.
Okay, yeah. So I changed that. That was something you guys had commented on that I changed. I changed a little bit of the style of the way the balloons are. I tried to make them more uniform as well.
Fine. That's not perfectly good, like manga style for the radio balloons. It's fine. Like it's a manga-esque radio balloon. It looks great.
So you guys could see they're a little bit different shapes and stuff. I tried to point them at the mouths more.
Yeah.
I added in
sound
rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a.
Yeah. And some screeches and shit.
Yeah, the screeches were there already. I didn't have the gun graphics. I added that one in. I tried to make it go with like the gun and then down to the car.
The girl explaining what everybody's doing with the dialogue, which is really smart. And what the goal is of this scene. So that all makes sense. A lot of the times in comics, you actually just need people to say what the hell's going on. Because sometimes it's very unclear.
Yep.
Right. So I tried to.
So I'm giving you kudos for having done that.
Congratulations.
I added this little screech slide thing because you guys can see. So what's happened is he's actually not tied down. I know you guys were talking about that last week. So he had been harpooned. Is the harpoon going into him with the chain, and the chain attaches to the 3 vehicles. Right here, you see the 2 vehicles, and then in the middle, this next panel, he's jumping out. So right here, there's no change or anything because he's actually not tied in, and it's in his lower quarter. See, it's into the lower hind quarter here, so you wouldn't be able to see it from this view.
Well, he can't.
But I did add the RAR. What's that?
The RAR is fine. It's still not clear that the guy's not tied down. He's just not tied down, then tied down, then not tied down. So
no, right. He's never tied down. He's attached, so he can't get away. And then they shoot him, and he crashes. So right here, I mean, potentially.
Why do you have a screech sound effect instead of a crash sound effect?
Well, I've seen the ground, but I don't know.
I mean,
I guess I could do that up here.
The sound effects
and then do
of us are he is struggling, not he just crashed.
Okay.
No? Is anyone disagreeing with me on this one?
I mean, I could move the screech up and then.
The action is he crashes down, so you have to sell the crash, not that the monster's unhappy about it.
I mean, I don't know. Like, what sound would you recommend there for the crash, Danny? What do you think?
Smash, crash,
Bunk, okay,
whatever, something like that. Like just like you want to sell the guy has hit the ground, not he is struggling against this chain that is dominating the page.
Sure.
So you can only really pick one, right? One verb per panel still holds.
Okay.
Right, because that next panel, it looks like he's being held down. So if it's just a crash instead of the struggling, then
he just can't fly because the wings have been shot.
Yeah. So if it's just that he fell down, it's okay for him to get back up. Whereas if he's struggling, like you had him before with the screeching, then it's more confusing that he gets up again. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So I added this little here. At their sliding in, I added in the RAR. I added a bang here for the gun. And then she's yelling, wait. So this was the other thing you guys were like, she didn't try to warn them, but this panel is happening at the same time. So a lot of these overlays are, it's all happening at once. So like he's jumping out of the car here. The pterodactyl kind of stands up. He shoots and gets exploded at the same time as she's yelling.
Yeah, that might be what your script says, but actually, you read a page in the general form of an F.
Yeah.
And things at the bottom generally are assumed to happen after things at the top. Likewise, things on the right are assumed to happen after things on the left.
Yeah.
So whether you like it or not, her reaction is after he gets cut in 3 pieces, and weight is still a bit confusing for that.
Yes. Okay. I think given that page, I would think no would be a better reaction than wait.
Or drop an F-bomb.
The monster killed Johnny. Yeah. Let's murder it. We should have actually tied it down.
I can't wait to nail it in the booty. Apparently, this is going to happen in page 12 or something. I don't know what these guys are thinking, but apparently they're pretty rowdy crew. I don't know.
It's the future. Maybe
Yeah.
Well,
I'll share the second half when I'm done lettering it. I'm almost done lettering that.
Okay.
And then everything will make more sense. I'll be able to reveal some more of the information. I did change these panels so it looked like one arc, as Danny had suggested.
That's really good. Although the part that comes out to the speaker's face is really thin. It's way thinner than the part that goes between the 2 balloons. So pick a lane on this one. You want your tails to be at least, the mouth of the tail should be at least the size of a letter, and it's way too small for that first speaker, and the second speaker actually, but it's way too small for the first speaker.
So these are all pre-made tails. I had got these on CircWorks.
Okay.
He has comic builder
really
package.
easy to create your own. Or you can just hire me.
Yeah, I just use his pre-made ones, and I stretched it out a little, but
Well, I've used
those
the
are
Arcus
all
Cut,
like
so that's definitely a
Yeah.
win. That's really clear.
Yeah. I need to help me run. So,
All right, what happens next?
But anyway, so this panel, you guys were confused about who was the commander, so I added in that top line there. Sorry, Commander. I tried to warn him, so that way you know this is Commander Dagger here.
You're gonna have to rewrite that when you realize that she didn't actually try to warn him, but the mention of the commander is good.
Well,
that tells us
again, this is happening simultaneously.
Really
No,
But it's not.
it's not.
If it was happening simultaneously, those panels would be beside each other.
Yeah.
That's how that
Right.
works.
Right.
Visual language. That
I mean,
you're
all right,
like-
wait, Danny, wait. Well, how about this? What about scroll up a little bit, Skyler? What if he took the weight balloon and put it in the other panel?
That would be fine because that would be happening at the same time as the other panel.
Yeah. How about that, Kyler? Look at that. You're welcome. This is another service I provide.
So,
Although you're roboting over there. I don't know what you're saying. All right. Uh-oh.
What?
Okay. What did you say?
Crossbar eye.
Yeah.
What?
Balloon 3, crossbar eye at the beginning. Don't do that.
Where?
Balloon 3.
Oh, right here. So I actually looked that up. That is correct. The on Blambot, his rule set that he has is it's if it's the first letter of a sentence, or if it's the I as in me.
Yeah, it still looks awful. Anyways, sure. That's not a deal breaker if you seem to be very comfortable
Okay.
with it. So sure.
Yeah.
I would not make that decision.
Okay.
I just let her
Because I think the first letter of a sentence, it's okay. It's only in the mid sentence you don't want to use the capital.
Why is there someone speaking with a weak balloon for?
So this is like she's talking not as loud, so that's why it's deflated. Like she's kind of like.
Well, why not use dots or like an opacity layer? Because that's a weakness. That's a weak balloon, not a. You could use a smaller font. There's lots of ways to do that, but that balloon shape tends to imply like the person speaking is unsteady. So that could be like the Hulk could use that balloon. Someone crying could use that balloon. Someone dying,
right? So
even weaker.
That is kind of that, where she's kind of just like there's no
quieter would be like a smaller font size or like lowercase or like a whisper, which is a dotted line, or like 80% opacity. You can reduce the strength of the balloon without changing the shape of it, because it looks like it sound basically reading that. I'm reading that the captain is saying there's no use crying over skilled guts, perhaps while breaking down, and we're not seeing that on the page.
Okay, maybe I'll just make it a regular size balloon and join it up, and it'll just be a double balloon there.
Okay.
Moving down here, I move this further left so it's easier to see that it goes left to right,
Awesome.
from the caption to this one is left to right.
Yeah,
then
but
it
that's
comes
still not
back.
a great locator caption. That's a narration caption, dude. That should just be Berkey.
What do you mean?
That's your style for a location caption, not for narration. So it just needs to tell you what the location is. Maybe you say like human rebel base, Albuquerque, whatever. That's it. That's all it's got to be there. You're putting in too much.
Okay.
And you already have a style for narration. It's your monstrous style. And last time I remember you had like 4 different narration styles, and it was like ultra confusing who was talking ever. And then you used your location style, the blue thing, to add narration. Well, you shouldn't do that. Like, you need a style for just here's the place.
Yeah, that's what this
So
is, though. It
anything
just
you
says
say
back
there's
inside the
a
base.
place. Yeah, so
So I
what you
can
say
shorten
is, yeah, human base Albuquerque. That's literally, you don't need more than that.
Okay.
You can just put city. That's all you need.
I did change all of these balloon shapes so everything was a little smaller and fit better.
Nice.
And then the other thing was this one's the top, right? So it is like it's left to right, but it's also top to bottom. So it's left to right, and then this one is the top panel. Then it goes down to this logically, right? You read here and then back to the left and right again. So left, right. There's one that goes backwards here, and then we're back, right, left. And I guess I could put that on this side if I really wanted. But I feel like this leads it better towards that direction.
Yeah, that's fine.
Did add in the BRAP here. Got rid of the bang bang.
It's still
You
a
guys didn't
prototype
seem to like
plasma
that.
rifle that makes a machine gun sound, though. You didn't fix
Yes,
your
I
copy.
took out the Sonic too. I changed it to just plasma rifle. I figured that was
That's
too
not a
much.
plasma rifle. That's a machine gun that shoots lead bullets. We can see the casings right there in the yard.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're filled with plasma.
That's not what plasma is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Plasma is a state of matter.
Yeah.
That it only happens in really weird places, like in stars.
And lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a machine gun is hardly a futuristic weapon because we have them.
Well, yeah, I guess I could change that to is that the artist, he's a really good artist, but he's Russian and his main language is not English. And so I think he translated a lot of this stuff and then like it didn't turn out exactly how I had planned, but it
that's
still looks
also why
amazing.
you provide feedback on the pencil stage or the sketch stage, and you say, yeah, there shouldn't really be bullet rounds. It should look like this.
Yeah.
Or, and I'm saying this for any creator watching, when the inks come in or when the pencils get locked is a really good time to rewrite your script to match the actual art you have.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times too.
Yeah, because he didn't send me pencils. He just sent me final inks.
Sure. I write my scripts and then I see the art. I rewrite my dialogue to match the art. Bing, bang, boom. Then I do it a third time when we're actually lettering. And that's a lot of time to revise the dialogue and all of that to make sure it all works. And that's a really good process that fits well within the production schedule because it means you engage better with your script and with your dialogue at every review stage because you're rewriting it, you're tightening everything up, but also you're making sure the art is doing what it's supposed to do at the same time with a little bit more care and attention than like, yeah, these pictures look good.
So how would I rewrite the right? There's supposed to be prototype rifles that killed the pterodactyl.
There's supposed to be a prototype rifle. What you have is a picture of a machine gun. So you rewrite the line so it refers to the machine gun that the guy's using, or you say, let me just practice using my machine gun. I'm going to show you my prototype plasma rifle later. Come to my lab after you go to the bar. And then, because they go to the bar, then to his lab, you suddenly expressed what's going to happen before it happens, which is setup and payoff. That's storytelling 101.
But is there ever a plasma rifle? Does the plasma rifle consistently look like this AK-47?
Yeah, they're
Which is that a
traditional
tripod
guns.
mount?
Yeah, it's
No,
really a machine gun.
That's a bipod. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bipod.
it's
Yeah, correct.
And
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
it's
not
an
a
AR-15.
AK-47, by the way.
So let me. Well, it's what kind of rifle?
An AR-15.
Okay, AR-15s shoot one bullet at a time. Unless you're
You
talking
can put
about
them in full auto mode.
you have to modify them to do that.
They're
why
modified.
not just use an M16, which is basically the military version of an AR-15 anyway?
Okay, but the art is the art at this point.
Right. It would be an
Anyway,
M4. Yeah, if it was a military.
Yeah, but anyway, but my point is, why not he just say, hey, check out my modified machine gun? I mean, is there a plot reason why it has to be a plasma rifle, is my question.
No, it was just supposed to be that he created a new gun that was going to be better in fighting the pterodactyls than they had in the past.
Why doesn't he just talk about this amazing weapon mod that he created for the assault rifle and
special types of rounds?
Yeah, special rounds. Make something up.
Yeah, special rounds is all you need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check out these special rounds I made for our modified assault rifle.
Not the art that you wrote.
Okay,
and,
so yeah,
and,
I'll change that.
Those rounds could be something crazy like white phosphorus rounds, which would be
well.
Crazy.
That's again that would also depend on, is the white phosphorus rounds, specifically targeted against their biology? Like,
I mean, white phosphorus burns through anything is kind of the point. It burns.
Right. Well, I'm using your example and just building on it by saying, is the bullets or the modification somehow special? Can you make that, whatever he invented, a modification to the assault rifle that makes it better at killing the alien pterodactyls? Then you can make this panel about the modification, not about the rifle. So think about their alien physiology, the way you have it developed in your brain, and what a weakness they might have would be, whether it's white phosphorus or whatever the hell. You make it garlic bullets for all I care, because it's a vampire alien pterodactyl. But whatever it is, you just make it about that rather than it being about the gun. It's about this super modification, and then he can go and show it off in the panel, and the panel looks great,
Yeah, so I'll change this line then. I'll figure out a certain kind of round. Like the buffalo rounds are good for taking down bears, and maybe it's some kind of like super buffalo round with white phosphorus. I don't know. Well, I'll figure that part out.
You can. So in Spirit of the Dragon, the power core that Temperance creates that powers the mech suit was originally going to be uranium, and she is basically supposed to invent a nuclear power core.
Nice.
And nuclear science is confusing and very, very complicated. And I was reading into all of that, and eventually I said, this is too confusing to try to make it accurate. So I'm going to instead change it to a magic space rock. So now it's just a chunk of meteorite that fell out of space that nobody knows what the hell it is, and it can be anything I want. And that's basically what I'm suggesting do here. Make something up, and you can make it be whatever you want it to be, and then you don't exactly have to explain the science if you're essentially making something up.
Okay.
I say explain the science, but that's me.
that would be you.
Either way,
I mean, it's a small detail.
Dialogue reflect the actual art.
Yeah.
Yes, that is.
My original point is simply that plasma rounds shouldn't have brass casings. That was just my point.
Yeah, and so the actual type of round doesn't affect the story at all, other than I wanted them to have a new weapon that was going to be better in the fight, because they're about to, stage war on the actual nest. So just that they had a new upgraded weapon for their final battle.
All right. I mean, I would say special bullets.
Doesn't matter what you put there.
Which could be white phosphorus bullets. They could be kryptonite bullets. They could be
bullets full of ham sandwiches. It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Essentially, that was my whole point. You can make the bullets made out of anything.
Yeah.
So this one, next panel here, I added, this is more of a sound effect style, and I pointed it towards your mouth, the punk rock. Obviously, I'm not going to write lyrics for this, so...
That's a fine, very good balloon. Why would you change it?
Wait, what's a fine balloon?
The punk rock one is really good.
No, yeah, I'm saying the reason she's screaming punk.
Job.
You don't need to explain it. We all liked it.
It was good.
Okay. Yeah, so I made that a little bit better, upgraded that. I did add the balloon.
What you did. We saw what you did already. We're asking, what's new?
Yeah, this is new. That was new.
Before.
No, it was down here, and it was hollow. It was a hollow, and it wasn't in a balloon. Yeah.
Well, it's even better now. Then
it is.
Yep. I did add the doc talking here. That was a thing that Danny had mentioned, that he should be talking in this panel, so it's not just like a empty look over panel. So he walks in, now he's talking, says the first line here, and then Commander Dagger responds here and here.
Yeah, that seems like two people are actually talking about stuff while in the room together.
Right. Let's see. That's it for this panel.
Still don't like
that I changed. You don't?
I mean, earlier that day is just, I guess it's fine, but that could be happening at the exact same time as this conversation. I don't see the difference. I guess the art is daytime.
Well, this is nighttime. They're in the bar, and he's asking when he goes, and he's saying they're waiting on the coordinates. So at this point, he doesn't know that they have the coordinates. And it's saying earlier this day, and this is back in the Grand Canyon now. The other crew that he's talking about here are getting the coordinates.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Grand Canyon, Arizona. The
Love
beep, beep, beep. The only thing is he didn't draw the signal marks on this one like he did on that one. But I think that's fine. You can still see the
noise, so you draw attention to it. It's fine.
Yeah. So this is the pregnant alien pterodactyl. I don't know if you guys can tell this one's supposed to be pregnant. It's got the big belly. So the idea is that they're following the pregnant one back to the giant nest. They're back
so
here.
Are your
this
alien pterodactyls mammals?
They're reptiles. Yeah. They're regular pterodactyls with enhanced DNA.
But I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not up on all my reptile anatomy. But do they actually get big bellies, or because I thought that was a more mammalian thing?
No, they do. They'll hatch eggs.
But do they get big bellies? I understand.
In this comic, they do.
Okay. All right.
They are alien pterodactyls.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think pregnant lizards do get a bigger belly before they hatch the eggs, though. Or reptile, like a lizard or a turtle. I'll have to look that up, but either way,
it makes sense
it's sci-fi.
Yeah, I can accept that they are aliens.
Yeah. Then we have the guy in the thing, Vroom. This is the Arizona crew here. He's tracking the thing, which is why we have the panel here with the tracker. And then we have, someone asking him what the sit rep is. And he say, we got him pinned down. It's only a matter of time now. We have the tracker dart here on the thing. So they now have the precise location.
And I see you still have the totally extraneous editorial remark explaining SITREP for your 17 plus book, assuming that your readers won't Google anything if they don't know it.
I'll be honest, I didn't know what this meant because I looked up military terms. Yeah, I was trying to make it more military, so I actually looked up
jargon.
Military terms. I found SITREP. I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up myself. So I'm assuming I'm not the only one.
That's fair.
I'm sorry you broke up there.
Although I was
going to say that one's pretty well known, but sure.
I'm kind of okay with putting in words or references that readers won't know.
Yeah, but you also
I'm not
want
sure everyone
all the time, Preston.
I what?
You also want all the signs to be first all the time.
I do. But like White Lily, it's hello, thank you, all that's in Russian. And I never explain what they're saying, but
that's a stylistic decision. Why is there an exclamation point after the M in Vroom?
I don't know. Okay, that's a good point. I should take that out. Yeah. Right.
I am actually of a mindset that the editorial bubble is not necessary. I kind of feel like anybody that's reading a sci-fi militaristic action comic is going to know what SITREP is.
And if you didn't, you would follow if you read the next bubble, right? What's the SITREP? I don't know what that means. We've got them down. Okay. Well, shit. It must mean talking about the situation. That's what it must mean, right? So.
It's being reported, in fact, right now.
Yeah.
And I think And most likely your readers at this point, they've already played Call of Duty for several years of their life. Since they were 12, they've probably seen hundreds of military action movies where these terms are used. So I kind of feel like it's redundant at that point. They'll know what it means, even if they don't know what it exactly means. Like, to be perfectly honest, I did not know that sitrep meant situation
having
report.
to Google in the middle of my.
I did know what sitrep meant in the context of dialogue.
Yeah.
I have written what's a sitrep all the time without knowing that it specifically meant situation report. And I think most people are going to be like that. So, but that's just my opinion.
We can agree to disagree on that one. I'm going to leave it in
fine.
because,
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. And I just, like I said, if I save one person from having to Google in the middle of reading my comic, what does sitrep mean? Then I feel like it's good.
Okay.
And I just feel like the next time I hear somebody explain what an EMP is in a sci-fi movie, I'm going to strangle them, especially when it's one scientist talking to another scientist.
There you go.
But that's just my own pet peeve. Like, I've known what EMPs was since I was in high school, and I still watch sci-fi movies where scientists are talking to you about what's an EMP.
I know, it's like no one saw The Matrix.
I know. Or any other sci-fi movie that's ever come out in the last 20 years.
Or Clone Wars, yeah. Clone Wars, they use the EMP grenades all the time on the bots.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Moving on.
So one note on this page is I had sent this in before I changed the art. I had the colorist change this background that's red here to blue, so it matches the top club scene rather than blending in with the lab. So it's more clear that this is the club and then this is the lab. And then here on the next one, he has the blue background, which blends in with this club, but this is actually the lab. So this is changed to red background.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Why is your locator caption for
and
the lab?
This is changed to a blue background. So on what?
Your locator caption for the lab is off style. It should be in the top left.
Okay, I can switch that. What I was doing with that is, again, just left to right. So it was going left, and then I figured I would just put that here. It'll probably help to draw it back to the left side for this to start
you need
this.
to put back on the left for the narration anyways, and the narration doesn't have its own balloon. And also, if you're going to put your locations in one place, try and be able to put them in the same place all the time.
Okay, so yeah, we'll switch that back to left side. That was one of your notes, though, was to put it in this panel where they're walking into his lab. So I did do that.
So you did that. Good job. Put it in the other place. Better job.
And then I added these balloons. I'm not sure if you guys remember. They were so it all kind of flowed better. And then here I made it a little bit more bold. I made it larger and bolder and made the black behind it stand out more, so it should be a little bit easier to read.
Yes,
my theory here was that there's no one in the scene, so I just made it a non-balloon panel or a non-balloon
Doc talking. So, and because now you mentioned to us that you're going to Doc's lab, one can infer that Doc is explaining what's going on. So that's not a deal breaker. That's fine.
Yep, I added that in too that you mentioned. Join me in my lab. So that's in there.
So all of that together means that we assume Doc is explaining what's happening in the lab. So it's not confusing at all.
Cool. So yeah, I'll switch sides on that. One other thing that you mentioned down here was the spelling of buses. So that's actually correct. It is one S.
Is that how you spell buses in America? What is wrong with your country?
So there's an alternate. You can use the double S, but that's like a rare version in America anyway. The normal way is one S.
Your country is full of insanity, and I disapprove of all of it.
Yeah, well, at least we know how to spell color and flavor.
I don't think we have any other changes on this page, like I said, other than I just bolded these. I did add in the the periods B period, R period, A period, M period. I edited the text slightly here. I think it makes more sense now. How it reads. I black outlined the yeah. I didn't know what to put here because it's just like people partying. Like, I don't know. I was just like a yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah, that
people
was
get
fine.
the point. Yeah.
It's a big punk show. People are going to sing along. That's fine.
Yep. And yeah, that's basically it for the edits. So, do you guys have
All
any
right.
other stuff we didn't talk about that?
No, I can't wait till
Yeah.
we see that pterodactyl taking the high hard one. Very excited.
So that's not till the beginning of issue 2.
Oh,
That's
shit,
page
I'm gonna have
1,
to wait
issue
for a long
2.
time.
Yeah.
Rather than
Page 1,
explaining
issue
every
2.
panel, you should let someone read page 1 or 2 times and explain what he understood of the story, where it's going on. Show more than tell. All right, very good.
Well, we did do that last week.
Yeah,
Or
we all
2
did that
weeks ago.
last week. Claire
Yeah.
wasn't here.
No, I listened to it and I
No, we're
did as
referring to the guy that
I
just
went through and made
commented.
notes. And then,
Yeah.
That wasn't meant to you, Kyler. That was meant to the guy that commented. We're letting him know that we did read through it. We did read through it 2 weeks ago. So that's why we're kind of just doing more of a editorial thing this time.
all right, cool.
Anyway.
Thank you guys for your help on that. I'll go through again with these notes from today and we'll finalize that. And then I'm almost done with the second half. I can probably share for next week if you guys want.
Awesome.
You're going to have to bring it censored if you start dropping out the titties, because YouTube don't like that for whatever reason. It's run by a bunch of American prudes that.
God, Americans are the worst.
No,
Yeah.
Preston just needs to mark it. Preston needs to just mark the stream as 18 plus.
There we go. Okay.
There's an age setting in the in YouTube. There's an age setting.
Yeah, but they don't allow nudity in 18 plus.
Yeah, you're gonna have to censor your own work.
I'm pretty
I
sure
mean,
I'm pretty sure that they don't allow that even in 18 plus.
Even in artwork, it's not real.
I don't want to spend a lot of time discussing what YouTube will or not not hypothetically allow. All right. Let's see. So Larry said he can't make it tonight, so Moon Baby's out. All right. So we got Blood Feud and Palace. Which one you want, Danny?
I mean, obviously all of them.
Okay. Which one do you want next?
What have you done with Palace? What are you bringing us?
I've got some new stuff here. You might like it.
Well, I expect to like it.
Sure.
I also expect to like Blood Feud. So let's go with Palace first.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Blood Feud, if I
I'm going to be back in a second here.
Yeah.
Got a bit confusing and frustrating last time because there were so many changes.
Yeah. All right. So we have this panel. This page is unchanged where Samantha just slaps the shit out of Thora.
Cool.
Yeah.
So why don't we start at the next page?
Okay. There we go.
Right. Page 9. Panel 1. Samantha continues to control Thora's sorry face with her left hand. She rears back her right to smack her again.
I'm sorry, High Priestess. You can see the corruption here. I did what I felt I must do.
Panel 2. Samantha cradles Thora's face with both hands.
Yes, I know. Queen Arika takes for herself, and we are all the poorer for it. Still, you could have resolved this without leaving the faith, couldn't you?
Yes, High Priestess, but that's not the choice I made.
Panel 3. Samantha looks down on Thora with pity.
And now, here you are. Having reaped the whirlwind, I am tasked with keeping you alive until you can suffer a painful, humiliating death in front of your former friends and noble women.
I'm getting some Kai Wynn vibes here, and I like it.
Okay.
Panel 4. Samantha studies Thora's face carefully.
But there may be another way for one who wishes to repent of her sins.
Mercy for returning to the faithful. Queen Arika would never allow it.
Page 10. Panel 1. Samantha schemes as Thora watches, helpless.
No, she wouldn't. But you and I both know she does not offer good leadership to the queendom.
Panel 2. Samantha looks down at Thora, studying her response.
My magic has allowed her to rule this region for generations. But as the centuries roll on, I must heed the words of Viviax. The time for a change in leadership has come. Are you ready to claim it?
I'm in no position to bargain. I will fight for anyone against Arica. What am I to do?
Panel 3. Cradling Thora's face, Samantha bends down and stares at her.
I have a plan that would provide you an opportunity to end her life, but my role in it must remain a secret. I can arrange for you to escape, but you would be branded a fugitive, hunted, never to return.
I understand.
Very well then. Tomorrow, during the spectacle that is to be your execution, you will find a dagger next to where your hands are bound. Use it, free yourself, and kill the queen when you get the opportunity.
I guess we've got a mission.
We do.
She's on a mission from God.
She is.
Well, no, she's not on a mission. She was on a mission from God. Now she's kind of screwed, I guess.
Well, she's on a mission for a different god.
Yeah.
Yeah, not getting Blues Brothers vibes out of this. Sorry, mate. Page 11, panel 1. Thora stands before a post, her hands tied behind. A noose around her neck runs up to a block and tackle, which redirects it to a mechanical crank sitting before Edmund, who stands beside Queen Arica on a platform, awaiting her order to kill the captive. Samantha sits to the left of Arica on the platform. Wearing a black lace funeral dress, Tabitha issues the execution speech to the waiting crowd, which includes Governess Akasha armed and armored. The crowd includes many local men and women. In addition, the Silver Hydras wear cloaks and do their best to blend in.
Oh, they're back.
Yes.
Bastards.
we gave them like a special font for their name and everything. They better come back.
Yeah.
I missed them. Oh, yeah, Samantha. Then you may flee in chaos, run away to your desert ruins, and spend your remaining days worshipping your irrelevant goddess.
And so, because of your acts of both treason and heresy, you shall suffer a dishonorable death.
Panel 2. Behind her back, Thora uses a dagger in her right hand to saw into the rope, binding her hands behind the post.
Henceforth, your name shall be stricken from the history of the Governess Legion, all records of your very existence destroyed. Let the entry of Thora in the Forbidden Names list be the only proof that you ever existed.
Panel 3. Foreground. With sadness in her face, Tabitha faces Arica and Edmund, who seem to relish the excitement of what's about to happen. Background. Thora remains tied and stoic.
The prisoner awaits execution, Your Highness.
Finally! Women do love to talk.
Shh, Sir Edmund, don't spoil the mood. I intend to savor this moment.
Panel 4. Edmund attempts to rise from his seat, but Arica places her hand on his chest as she stands instead.
Please, my dear, mine should be the executioner's hand.
Page 12. Panel 1. Arica stands with her hand on the crank of the rope, which leads to the neck of the defiant Thora, tied to the post below. Every time I read about your block and tackle pulley systems, I think of the game Mousetrap with the Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and I find it freaking hilarious.
Okay. Any last words before we rid the world of you? Yes, I wish to say that.
Panel 2. Moving quickly, Thora cuts at the rope leading up from her noose.
I will end your life yet.
Panel 3. Samantha and Edmund spring into action.
What? Somehow Thora is free. Oh
Somehow
my!
Thora is free is not a spring into action line. That's a sit down and watch what happens line.
You guys want me to read any of these, or?
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, you can. You can.
Yeah,
read,
I've been back the whole time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Panel 4. With the noose hanging loosely from her neck, Thora steps forward with her left foot. She prepares to throw the dagger with her right hand, presumably,
Yeah.
into the hand of the heart of the evil queen, standing on the platform above her.
By the will of, Kyler, go ahead and be Thor. There we go.
Okay. By the will of Ereshkigal, may my aim strike true.
Page 13, panel 1. Thora steps forward with her right hand as she lets fly the dagger.
Yeah. Sorry, that should be right foot. It's like throwing a baseball. All right.
Panel 2. Speed lines show the dagger flying towards the shocked Arika as she steps towards Edmund, looking for his protection. Samantha's hands glow red as she begins to cast a spell. Sorry, what page is this? I'm going to have a note about it later.
13.
Okay. Panel 3. Speed lines show the dagger speeding towards Arika. Edmund decides today is a poor day to die. He steps back from her, his hands raised to keep the woman at bay as she lunges for his protection. Panel 4. The dagger strikes Arika in the side, wounding her. Page 14. Panel 1. Arika falls to her knees, her right hand clutching the dagger on her side.
Samantha, heal me.
Panel 2. Samantha smiles as her plan comes together.
Of course, my queen.
Panel 3. Edmund points towards Thora. She pulls the noose from around her neck. Governess Akasha, standing on the ground, draws her sword.
Don't just stand there, Akasha. Get her.
Kyler.
For the queen!
Panel 4. Thora looks down in confusion as stunned Akasha falls to her knees, dying.
Ugh!
What? Akasha?
Okay. Yeah, I thought I was Thor too.
Oh, maybe you are Thor. Yeah, you are Thor.
Panel 5. Akasha falls forward, revealing a dagger in her back. And Nimby, the halfling member of the Silver Hydras, who placed it there. Slump.
Kyler,
Oh, it's a comedy now. All right, let's go.
Hydras attack!
Page 15, panel 1. Dunan throws off his cloak and brandishes his battle axe as he utters his battle cry.
Kill them all!
That's a fucking battle cry.
Kill them all! Is that better?
Yeah.
Panel 2. Dunan decapitates a helpless noblewoman chosen randomly from the crowd as her husband recoils in horror.
Ugh. Why?
For the experience!
That was amusingly meta. Panel 3. Helena flies upward away from the screaming crowd.
Kyler, you can be Helena.
Good job, Dunan.
Panel 4. Arika looks to a confused Samantha.
The Silver Hydras heal me so that...
Page 16. Panel 1. Madradorf, the drow cleric, casts a blessing to aid his party, and Dunan chops a governess in half with his axe. Nimby discreetly searches corpses for valuables. Helena casts a cold spell, which freezes Arika and Tabitha into solid ice. Samantha stands back, overwhelmed. Still standing on the platform where she was to be executed, Thora similarly has no clear course of action as she watches all those she loved and hated killed in a flash.
Cone of cold.
No. And then we have a ugh. And so that's where I got to.
That last panel seems like a lot for one panel there.
I mean, it's
panels are on the page?
One.
It's fine.
Yeah. I was thinking of making it actually like a 2-page spread, but
that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save that, but I like the return of the Silver Hydras. I think that tie-in from the beginning, from issue 1, is very cool. So bringing them back, I think, is a interesting choice.
I also like the Silver Hydras, and I like that we've transformed Samantha into a character with a bit of depth. I think rather effectively with all of this scheming and the way it's explained. Mm-hmm. You signpost a lot of what's going to happen next, but not all of it in a really good way. And you pay those things off. So that's satisfying. And it was all fun and actiony and gory and cool stuff like that.
I like the additions of the RPG stuff. Tying it to the game. So that's cool. With the experience points and the guy searching for valuables and some of that stuff in there is funny. So
All right, constructives.
Yeah.
John?
I thought the tone shift was a little jarring. At the beginning of this issue, we have a character who is in a situation that's a metaphor for basically being Ard in prison to a comedy show. And I mean, it would basically be like the D&D Honor Among Thieves movie having an R scene in it, and I just don't feel like that fits tonally.
So you think I need to lighten up on the torture scene?
If you're going, well, this story hasn't been a comedy as in the last couple issues, has it?
Not exactly.
So, I mean, you can.
I mean, there have been some funny scenes, like in issue 4 where Gretchen's coming. You know.
So, I mean, yes. Then I would say lighten up on that scene. You can still keep the sexy moments. Just make it more. More comedic. You can do comedy torture, and I would probably recommend if that's what you want to. If you want to stay more on the lighter side, then do something more comedy torture than. And that doesn't mean that the characters have to be clothed. You can still have her, you know, be butt ass naked and doing comedy torture. Trying to think of one idea I had for a story I was trying to do comedy torture was basically they were they were tickling the character with feathers to the point where they couldn't breathe. So they were like, and that was basically how the torture was. Asphyxiation through tickling.
Okay.
So I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying that's an idea of comedy torture.
Coiler, do you have any constructives?
So I noticed this time she didn't heal her neck because she still ends with the broken neck, and then we skipped.
She had done that on the prior page.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't really have any constructive to this. I think it was good. I don't mind the transition. Because it goes. She's talking to her about, now you're basically fucked now, and there's only one way out of this if you help me, and then it switches to that scene where now they're battling. It kind of felt like Robin Hood to me. I forgot the Men in Tights, I think it is, where they're all tied up, and then Robin Hood comes and saves them and shoots the arrow and drops them down, and then it's like chaos and everyone's going everywhere. So I thought it was good at that part, maybe a little bit too serious in the torture scene, but I think it transitions well. However, you want to do that.
Tyler,
overall, I didn't really have any constructives on that.
Tyler, were you here for the first 10 pages of this issue?
Yeah, where she breaks her neck.
Okay. Yeah, I got her neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, where it's like two completely different tones to the book, but I also feel like a torture scene is supposed to be like serious and torturous.
It is, but you don't do it in a comedy. That was my whole point.
I don't know. And I can't, but I mean, I don't know if there's a rule that says you can't. I don't know. This is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you can't. You can do anything you
want.
I
mean, these were all the objections that were initially brought up to Roger Corman about including comedic scenes in horror movies.
All right. So, slowing you down for a bit, Preston, because I still have some thoughts.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I have like two disparate thoughts, and I think my response to John's constructive is sort of how I'm going to tie them together, which is I don't think you need to change the torture scene. I do think we need to adapt the transition to where the comedy is happening, because the stuff with Samantha is really effectively, here's some political finagling going on, right? And I think that was effective, and I think that's really important for the project, because a lot of what this book is about is, okay, if you have a lawful, evil, female-driven society in a D&D world, what does that actually look like? Right? So you got to lean on that, which means the political stuff is important. And that's why Edmund takes up so much space in the entire project.
Mhm.
At the same time, adventures, despite what I'm sure most D&D players think, are totally, absolutely 100p agents of chaos.
Right.
In any situation, no matter what alignment they purport to be. They show up and they wreck shit. Right? It's what they do.
Right. Exactly.
It is what they do.
So there's a couple of ways to make that transition land.
Mhm.
I think... so I drew attention to, what was it, page 13, when
Yeah.
I think the art direction was unclear what was going on there, but my note was going to be, listen, if this is a female-driven society and Arika is sitting beside anyone who's got a penis, she's going to be literally pulling that person in front of her as a human shield.
Right.
And that didn't really come across, but that's a solution. And then him trying to get away and her getting injured still works.
Okay.
Right? But like, lean into the society thing. Yeah, there's a man beside her. Of course he's going to be the human shield. She wouldn't think about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Samantha like gets up instead of being like, haha, this was my plan all along. Like, so her shock, I'm using air quotes here, doesn't really work, even though Edmund is rightly shocked.
Well, I was referencing J.J. Abrams with somehow Thor escaped, but I thought that was all right.
Yeah, so like if she's still sitting down, that's fine, but it's a comic, not a movie, so she has to be saying that sitting down for that to land tonally.
Okay.
Right?
Sure, yeah.
And then she can get up after that, but like you have to pick a lane on the art here.
Okay.
Having a struggle about whether to use Edmund as a human shield, I think, points us more towards comedy using in-world methods, right? And then the Samantha thing sort of leans into that as well, and that's a bit of a softer transition. What's, I think, solvable but a bit weird is that Thora is kind of shocked. Although she's trying to kill Arika, having the Silver Hydras do some of that work for her takes time away from her arc that could be important. Or she assumes Arika is already going to be dead, and why isn't she running away?
Right.
And so, these agents of chaos showed up. I've done my job. I'm going to get out of here while this very convenient distraction is very distracting. Because now no one's going to be chasing me. They're going to be dealing with these adventures. Bye. That works. Right? Likewise, her like having a more intimate like stabby stab interaction with Arika while the adventurers are doing stuff and before she pieces also works.
I would go that route. I only because
or even having Samantha do it if Thora is going to leave early, but like one character needs to be like, aha, I got you, because Arika
that is if you want Arika to die.
Yes.
Or if you decide that she is going to survive this because of the chaos. I mean, unless Samantha orchestrated the chaos, that's not entirely clear.
Seems like Samantha orchestrated the chaos, but it's unclear.
But doesn't the dwarf cut her in half?
So I think the question would then come down to does Thora want to ensure that the queen is dead? Like, is that like her major motivation? Is her major motivation to escape and survive, or is it to get revenge? Because I think that motivation will drive her action. If her motivation is to get revenge, I think she would not leave until she knows Arika is dead, and that would mean charge the stage, stab, make with the stabby, and then try to escape, and then you can kind of end the basically take us on a harrowing, narrow escape, or she basically escapes in the chaos, which because everything is in chaos, it's not really going to be a dramatic escape. She escapes in the chaos, but Arika survives. Because then Samantha is then stuck in the middle of how does Samantha then going to try to carry out her mission of taking out Arika without coming out that she needs Thor to do it. If she comes out and does it, then people could turn against her for regicide. So she has to walk that fine line. So again, that's why I said it comes back to you. Was do you want Arica to die or not? If you want Arica to die, then the best thing to do would be to have Thora do it and then bug her out with the governors on her tail, because by that point in time it'll be a little slightly less chaotic because there'll be more dead people.
What I will say is that John's suggestion to turn this massive moment of chaos with the adventuring party into a 2-page spread could solve a lot of your problems, because you can have 2 big action pieces happening at the same time,
True,
on the same spread, showing the resolution of the Arica stuff and all of this chaos being created.
yeah,
right?
you could have the chaos like on the one side of the 2-page spread, and then Thora getting her stabby on the other side of the 2-page spread,
or whatever. And I think that's one way to do both without spending more time on the adventures. There's like a couple pages of the adventures, but like when they show up, they are splashy and chaotic. It really does work. And then you're not descending into comedy. You have a farcical moment that's incredibly chaotic, but that's fine because that just happens sometimes. And frankly, this is a prison break. I mean, this could be a Men in Tights moment. This could be, you know, a Good, the Bad, the Ugly moment. It could be any number of hanging scenes. It could be like an incident at Owl Creek Ridge, and it's all just a flashback. Like any number of hanging scenes you could call back to. So having the adventures just kind of like make it a bit of everything with just a whole lot of like, okay, fuck everyone is really like, it's fun. It's really D&D. I'm totally behind it. And as long as it doesn't take over the rest of the book, like immediately, then it's totally fine as long as you don't sort of downplay the seriousness of what you just did. Right. And I think that's what John was most, sorry if I'm vocalizing for you. That was what John was most like about, right? Was like, well, don't have that torture scene, then downplay it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
And likewise, I don't think having the political plot and then downplaying it immediately is going to work either. Like, let's show whether or not the assassination succeeds. I think if you're this close to the end of the story, you gotta, you know, start killing people.
Yes.
Who does the dwarf cut in half? Is that not Arica?
No,
that was some rando.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because player characters kill NPCs.
As we kill them all for the experience.
Yeah, no, that was all great. They're definitely the player characters.
Yeah.
And that's fun and very D&D, and I'm okay with you doing it as long as it doesn't take over very quickly.
Okay.
It can take over.
What happens also? What happens when she dies? Who's next in line to rule?
Well, Samantha wants to take over, right?
Yeah.
That was the dialogue rewrite that I think you missed at the beginning.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking I kind of want a Conan like end where we're with like Thora sitting on like, you know, the throne, like with everybody pretty much being dead, and being like, what happens next? Well, that's a tale for another time, kind of thing.
So are the adventures causing chaos momentarily? Are they there to help Samantha? Are they there because everyone's evil? Are they there to save Thora for some reason?
My thinking was, and you know, like I my thought was, if you were, because we set up from the very first issue that they, you know, the party are the PCs, that these are the PCs and everybody else is not a PC. And like, to me, that means, you know, if you're an NPC, you know, you have lives and hopes and dreams and ambitions, but ultimately none of it means anything when the player characters come around. And, you know, maybe you thought that was going to happen, but that's not your lot in life. And, and in some ways that's like the comedy and the tragedy of existence. But maybe I was thinking a bit too deeply about it.
I can live with that. Just,
because like, to me, like, you know, if we're in like an orc village, right? Like, and if the story takes place in an orc village, you know, like those orcs are all plotting and scheming against each other, and there's all this politics stuff. And then just one day, this random group of people for no reason just comes in and just kills everybody. Like, that's the existence of the orcs, you know.
I mean, I agree, but I think
Yeah.
it's not the most satisfying ending for a story about Thora, is to have
Sure,
the PCs
yeah.
show up. Like, this is not Monty Python the Holy Grail.
Right. Okay.
Right? You can't have the police show up and arrest everybody.
Okay.
It's not that kind of project.
Okay.
So, how do the PCs? How are they going to integrate into whatever you want to do next?
Mhm.
Is a question that you need to answer.
I mean, the one thought I had was that like Helena lands and then demands from Samantha the vial of angel's blood because she needs that for a reagent. And then Samantha's like, "No, I already used that." And they're like, "Oh, damn. All right. Well, sorry." And then they just leave.
Okay, so and then where does the rest of Palace of the Golden Princess go? Does it follow the adventures? Do they take Thora? What's Thora doing?
I mean, at that point, there's like the power vacuum, and we kind of.
I'm okay. I am actually okay with the story ending with Thora escaping, and there's a power vacuum that kind of leaves things open ended, because then it kind of is like, okay, well, where do we go from here? And that opens you up to volume 2 if you decide you want to continue this story or go.
Point, why not consider having Thora join the adventuring party?
Because she's an NPC.
I mean, there was one more thought I had, or one more joke. So let me run it by you. Like this whole time I've been thinking like it would be cool if I'm able to have one of the player characters die, and like their final words are, "This is so unfair," because like that's what all players say when their characters get killed. Like, "This is unfair." Like, so I wanted like a player character to die, and I wanted that to be like, "This is so unfair." And then
I mean, obviously you can do that you can get away with that with Edmund, who thinks he's a PC anyways.
Right.
And I'll remind you that you also spent 3 or 4 issues of Golden Princess having this not be a joke about who's a PC.
Yeah.
So this is kind of coming out of left field.
It is.
You still need to tell the actual story you're telling.
Okay.
With this, if you're going to include it.
Okay.
I think it's good to include it because PCs are agents of chaos.
Yeah.
And it solves a ton of problems real efficiently. And also,
so would a meteor strike.
Right? Like someone just summons a dragon. It crushes. Honestly, I feel like Thora joins the PCs.
Yeah.
And then just goes adventuring is a fine way to end it if you're going to have the PCs take over the book.
Right.
And be like, yeah, I'm done with this place. I'm just going to go become a pilgrim. Hey, do you guys need like an adventure to join you? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Thora has been a PC all along. This is her backstory. That's a fine end to this book.
Okay.
And I know that you've included this adventuring party as a random encounter in your in the module.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do understand that they're important. So let's bring Thora into that world too, because your readers will have followed Thora a lot and may give a shit about what she does. Whereas, like, and also, where the fuck is Gretchen? But I mean that during this entire execution.
That's a good question. I need to put Gretchen in.
So maybe she and Gretchen join, and it's a Xena Gabrielle thing, and that's fine too, right? Or maybe Gretchen kills Arica. Fuck. Like,
it'd be funny if she's like crawling off the stage bleeding, and then she just curb stomps
and
her.
then, like, Gretchen is like, "Screw you! I really like Thora. This was the whole thing. It's been torture for the whole time. She found a new god and everything. Like, there was some demon sex shenanigans. Not cool. Fuck you, Arica. I'm behind Gretchen doing that. That totally pays off.
All right.
Like, you've got a bunch of options here. But yeah, I think if you make the transition to chaos and farcical action happen through some character-driven action, like Arica using Edmund as a human shield, that sort of thing. Gretchen trying to save the day but showing up a little bit late, being like, "Oh God, these adventurers," or like whatever. Like that still works because the story is still about Thora's story, and Thora is very your protagonist, and you have to just live with that now.
Right.
Like for the purpose of this series, suck it up.
Okay. Fair enough.
You also have still 10+ pages.
Oh, sure.
Right.
I mean, I can take as many pages as I wanted to finish it off. But yeah.
Yeah, they can
Right,
like.
but that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't need to be a conclusion on this page. You could be a cliffhanger still that gets resolved later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's pretty Conan-y to be like, oh, well, I found a party, so now we're gonna go on some quests. Because when he's not doing that, he's like, what, traveling around, sleeping with witches, spending his money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's AD&D first ed, right? Is you get a bunch of gold, that's your experience points. Then when you run out of gold, well, I guess we need to go murder some shit now.
Exactly.
And get their gold because that's how you get experience.
Yep.
Right. So like that's still very D&D. He's got a quest. Okay, well, let's do a thing. This problem is kind of resolved. Probably it seems like it's not going to get any worse. I can see Thora wanting nothing to do with this place anymore.
Yeah.
Even if she's still kind of evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, I mean, Conan as a property, like, and I'm talking about the literature now because I'm such a nerd.
Yeah.
Shares a lot in common with like Lovecraft, right? About how it's like a cold, uncaring universe, and it's your own strength and self-confidence that really like that's what matters.
Yes.
Right. It's very existentialist. So you can use like an escape from the city, you know, seeing the power of just PCs who are like fighting monsters all day and have all these experience points, and being like, yeah, what am I doing? Like being part of the city cops when I could be doing that. Like that can be a character moment. We can turn that into a character moment.
Sure.
Right. So determining how much you want to deal with the politics or whatever weirdness is going to be like the starting point for Thora's next adventure. And obviously got to do a bit of both is up to you, but like you can prioritize, and the extent to which you include either the presence or interaction with the adventuring party in that is going to determine where you end up more, I think, than like just focusing on one or the other. So like, how big of a deal is it the adventurers showed up, or do they literally just be like, oops, sorry, and leave? Or are they going to do something now that they're here and they've already caused a ruckus?
Okay.
Yeah. Or again, like so many other options. The adventuring party really throws us for a loop. I think it's a good twist. You've also got a whole lot of other stuff that you've got to pay off before the end of the series anyways. So just make sure it's not too busy.
And also, what are the adventure party there to do? Like, what's their purpose? Like, they can't... characters, they need to have a reason for why they're there. So since these people are not citizens and they're, they have to have a reason for being there.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was the wall of text that brought them there prior to the flavor text that brought them to this particular hanging? So,
and I mean, that could be, one of the PCs wants like a spanking paddle +1.
Yeah.
But, you can get weird. But yeah, John's right. Like eventually that needs to be explained at least a little bit because they were a pretty big plot point for 2 issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll get to working on that.
All right. So let's read about some vampires.
Yeah. All right, John.
All right. So we are picking up where we left off last time. To refresh your memory, basically, a bunch of vampire hunters have attacked a vampire blood bank.
Like they do.
And that's basically where we pick up.
The good vampires,
they're the best vampires.
Actually, in my story, there are no good vampires.
Okay, but which side are they on? Are they in the side? Because I missed.
They're on their side.
Yes, they are. So I have not. Actually, I believe we're going to actually be introduced to the independent vampires in this section. But basically, you have the Vampire Empire, or they'll call it the Imperial Vampires of the Empire, are basically all ruled by a global vampire elite that is led by the son of Dracula. So
So
Decker
where
are
do the police vampires fall?
so they are enforcers for the vampiric empire.
Okay.
So they basically fall in line with the empire.
Okay.
And then the hunters are kind of, they do their own thing. They don't care what side of the vampires are on. If you're a vampire or working for them or with them, you're basically as good as dead, as far as they're concerned. Preston, do you feel like narrating for us?
Sure.
Did you ever get your phone call?
Not yet.
If you want, I'll narrate, and then if Preston has to hop off.
Okay, Kyler, why don't you narrate? And Danny, why don't you do priest? And Preston and I will do the other characters. And then when Decker shows up, Preston, if you're here, you can do Decker, because it's mostly,
Okay.
I think, eventually. So the other thing is, priest and Decker are our two main characters in this story. So we're going to be following those two characters a lot for the majority of the story. All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Kyler.
Yep, page 33, panel 1, interior Jefferson Free Clinic, warehouse, night. Priest enters the warehouse.
We've got to move now.
Panel 2, standing by the back of the van, Smith hands his keys to Cherry. Priest walks past them toward the loading dock.
Rose and I will take the van. Priest, you and Cherry follow behind in my truck.
Go. I'll clear a path.
Damn it, Priest.
Just go.
Panel 3, exterior Jefferson Free Clinic, loading dock, night. Background, the white cargo van pulls out of the alley onto the street. Midground, Cherry drives the sport truck behind the van. She sticks her head out, yelling. Foreground, Priest walks away them toward the reader. Away from them towards the reader, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay.
You're crazy. You know that?
Panel 4, Priest walks headfirst towards approaching police cars, red and blue lights illuminating the area.
Even though I walk through the valley of death, that's not the quote.
Should be Shadow of Death, but yes.
It should be the valley of the shadow of death.
Should be.
I forget what translation I used. I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty sure I copied and pasted that.
Okay, well.
Or I
It's
shortened
one of
it.
those lines that you just use the King James for. It's very famous.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
Coolio?
no, I'll have to double check that. Anyway. Oh, man.
Panel 5, Priest raises his pistol.
I will fear no evil.
Page 34, panel 5. Or no, never mind. Exterior Jefferson Clinic, rear alley, night. Panel 1, over Priest's shoulder. Priest opens fire. 2 shots hit the driver of the lead police car. The driver flashes into fire and ash. Sound effect. Blam, blam. Panel 2, wider. Over Priest's shoulder. As the first police car veers off the side, crashing onto the building, the second pulls forward. Sound effect. Crash. Priest fires again. The second vehicle has the same result. The driver and passenger are sent to ash. Sound effect. Blam, blam. Panel 3. The second car sideswipes the first, crashing to the side of the building. Sound effect. Crash. Panel 4. Priest releases the magazine, letting it fall to the ground. Panel 5. Priest reloads his pistol. The bullets in the magazine clearly visible as the others with the cross etched into them. Page 35. Exterior Jefferson Clinic, rear alley, nighttime. Panel 1. Decker drives into the alley, the push bar of his vehicle shoving the police car aside. Sound effect. Vroom. Crash. Panel 2. Priest fires his pistol. Sound effect. Blam, blam. Panel 3. Interior Decker's police car, night. Decker ducks below the dash as the bullets pass through the windshield and exit the back of the vehicle. Panels 4 through 6, series of panels. Exterior Jefferson Clinic, rear alley night. Priest unloads the entire clip as Decker's car veers past the crashing off to the side of the alley. Sound effect, blam blam. Page 36, exterior Jefferson Clinic, rear alley night. Panel 1, with the pistol slide locked open, Priest stares at the inscription confused. Panel 2, Decker kicks the door to the police charger, sending it flying off the frame. Panel 3, large panel. Priest stands facing down Decker, the slide to his pistol still locked open. Decker stands by the police charger, power pose.
Who are you?
I'm the next stage in human evolution.
Evolve to handle sunlight, and maybe then I'll bow to your master rays. Okay.
Page 37, same scene. Panel 1, Decker sprints forward, breaking out of the panel at supernatural speeds, speed lines, and forced perspectives. Panel 2, large panel. Decker grabs Priest by the neck, lifting him off of the ground and interrupting him from reloading. The gun slips from Priest's hand.
You smell funny.
I was in clown college before a seminary, because this is a comedy now.
Yes.
Panel 3, Priest kicks Decker in the face. Panel 4, Priest hits the ground on his back, looks out for his pistol, sitting just out of reach.
He kicked him in the face and ended up on the ground.
Page 38, same scene. Priest, panel 1, Priest faces off against Decker holding a silver combat knife. Decker assumes a fighting stance, ready for him. Panel 2, Cherry, driving Smith's truck, hits Decker, sending him flying across the alley.
Are you done fucking around?
Panel 3, Priest picks up his pistol off of the ground. Panel 4, Priest jumps in the back seat of the truck as Cherry backs out of the alley.
What the hell was that about anyway?
Panel 5, Decker stands. Behind him, Jenkins exits the police car he just arrived in.
Dude, what the fuck happened?
Page 39, exterior Jefferson Free Clinic night. Panel 1, wide panel. Several police cars sit parked out front, lights flashing. A few uniformed officers set up barricade tape. Nick stands by the entrance of the alley smoking a cigarette as Hawk, a young vampire appearing late teens, walks down the sidewalk toward him.
Watchmen?
Panel 2, Nix tosses his cigarette in the street.
Keep walking, suckhead. Jefferson's closed.
Panel 3, Hawk smirks a toothy grin.
You smell warm and sweet, like pussy.
Panel 4,
like pussy.
Nix draws his pistol.
I said, fuck off.
Panel 5, Hawk laughs at Nick's attempt to be brave, steps back up, throwing his hands up.
That's a lot of verbs
Like you
for
just
a panel.
don't care. Yeah.
All right, I'm out. Catch you later, Watchmen.
Page 40, interior free clinic, lobby night. Panel 1, a dusty haze still lingers in the air. Decker and Jenkins stand over the ashen remains of the doorman and guard.
All this to save 3 assholes? I could have Daywatch get this place up and running by sundown.
Panel 2, McBride and Jane enter.
Did either of you get a good look at any of Hunter's?
Panel 3, McBride, Decker, and Jenkins stand in the lobby area speaking, while behind them Jane sits at the guard's computer.
2, a priest and some blonde crack whore.
And where are their bodies?
Panel 4. McBride glances disapprovingly at Decker. Background. Nix enters the room from the side alley.
Right. I don't remember
Lieutenant.
who I am anymore.
I just had a run-in with some shady vamp.
Panel 5. Jane looks up from the computer.
Sir, it looks like they cloned the drives to an external server.
Oh shit.
Page 41. Interior Jefferson Clinic lobby at night. Panel 1. McBride stands behind Jane, who remains seated at the computer.
And that is why we outsourced the farm, gentlemen. What did they get?
Mostly just shipping manifests. Look like the supply went to a place called the Holy Mother.
Panel 2. Large panel. Jane sits at the computer, McBride standing over her shoulder. Decker, Jenkins, and Nix stand in the room.
The what? Indie Vampire Club. Good place to fuck or get fucked. Whatever your pleasure.
Something's not right. By these counts, they've been sending it by the gallons on a weekly basis.
What do they need with that much blood?
Stockpiling. Perhaps the rebels are planning for an attack. The rebels.
Destroy
Panel
the rebels.
Panel 3. McBride looks up from Jane's shoulder.
Decker, I want you and Nix to go up that way and stake out the area. Use the drone. I don't want you getting close and spooking them. Nix is good with that stuff.
Panel 4. Decker heads to the exit, gestures Nix to follow him.
I'm on it. Let's go, kid.
Page 42. Exterior Holy Mother of God night. Panel 1. Splash page. An old cathedral lit up in neon. The original stained glass windows have been painted over in black. Over the main door, a large circular window shows a nun bent over, spreading her ass cheeks. Underneath the window, in neon letters, Holy Mother. I think holy is just HOLY.
It is.
Yeah. Underneath the window, outside the two young women.
Not that kind of holy.
Okay. Outside, two women dressed in sexy nun outfits wave and shake their tits to passengers by. Hawk walks past them, disappears inside.
That's a lot of verbs for Hawk.
Confess your sins to the holy sisters.
Penance can be attained. Confessionals available now.
That's the end of
That's it. That's what you get.
I mean, it goes on. As I said, I
was wondering if this would turn into a John Lamont script, but you already answered that question.
All right.
So I guess that's the thing I liked about it.
Oh, yeah. Good. Go ahead.
The action was pretty actiony.
Yes.
The exposition meaningfully explained what the hell was going on.
Also, yes.
And it seems like our protagonists have a mission. Almost.
Do they?
Almost.
I don't know what the mission is.
They may well have a mission soon. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
We're like 40 pages in, and our heroes might actually have a thing to do.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, the action was pretty cool. We had Priest blowing up some vamps. There's certainly a fair amount of religious imagery, some sacred, some profane. But certainly you make use of that as is appropriate to the vampire genre. It's a gunfight, a follow-up, and then a setting. So, look, what more can we ask for? I think it delivers. So good job, Kyler.
Yeah, sorry, my kids are getting loud here, so I don't know if you guys
Sorry.
can hear them, but no, yeah, it was good. I liked all the action scenes. I think definitely a good break from a lot of the dialogue from the earlier part of the script. It was more a lot of dialogue heavy stuff, so it's good to have like a little section where there's some um, some gunshots and some car crashes and all of that good stuff happening. Then as we transition into the church, it seems like it's going to be an interesting new setting. Some nun strippers is always fun. I think I would. I don't know the holy thing. I think I might still keep it the regular holy, but just preference there.
Constructives. I don't know that I got a ton. I mean, I'm sure Danny has some. Go ahead.
You missed a good opportunity for characterizing that priest character during the 5 pages of no copy action you had.
It's only 2.
Well, it felt like 5, so yeah, having some dialogue would help with that. Also, it's 40 pages in. Our heroes don't have a mission yet.
Well, this is 40 pages in of a 160 to 180 page graphic novel.
And our heroes don't have a mission yet.
Should they have one by this? I mean, it's.
Oh, it looks like they cloned the drive. All right, Decker, go find that drive. That's all you need. Like, if it's a crisis point, send our heroes on the mission.
So my constructives would be, I don't think they fired enough rounds to have the slide be locked open. Down south, I'm pretty sure they're pretty lenient with gun laws. They're probably having 17 round clips with one in the chamber, so that would be 18 rounds before they need to reload. It seemed like he only fired like maybe 5 or 6 shots. Just a technical thing there. What kind of Glock are they shooting? I know mine is a 9mm and it holds 17 plus 1. So just depending on the size, if it's a smaller like concealed carry, it's going to have still probably like 12.
I was counting 12.
Okay. So yeah, but they're cops, right? So like they wouldn't be having a small little concealed carry. It would be like a full size carry pistol.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't count. The cops don't stick around long enough. I was counting Priest's gun. Priest, I was counting him. I think he has 12. So
Okay.
He's the one that we see reload, not the cops.
Okay. Okay.
Character question that just popped up in relation to Kyler's remark. Wasn't Priest the one like kicking through doors and firebombing things earlier, and now he's doing precision shooting? Like, is he a burn it all down kind of guy or a precision strike kind of guy?
Well, he blew the door open, but he is precision strike. He has a magic gun that does not miss unholy targets. So even when in a previous scene when the vampire cop ducked around a corner, the bullet curved around the corner and struck him.
Okay.
That's pretty badass.
Those
are the blessed bullets with the crosses in them.
Right. He has a magic gun with blessed bullets with the crosses engraved on them, and they do not miss unholy targets, except for Decker. That was the whole point of the 5 pages of no dialogue where he's precision shooting, is to show that he never misses, and then Decker shows up and now he's missing. That was the whole point of those pages.
Well, it's a good thing you made it really clear when you said something about it. Like, why did my magic gun miss this Dracula?
Danny wants more exposition.
I want the characters to say things like ever.
All right.
Yeah, I think that would be added because I didn't pick up on that until you just mentioned it either. So unless the art,
it is a little subtle.
Yeah,
I mean, we have seen a lot of gunshots and we've seen a lot of people getting hit with rounds in movies all our lives, so it's hard to necessarily pick up that information without it being expressly stated.
Okay. So it is expressly stated later, but if it needs to be done now, I will have the character do it now.
You can have him bitch about it when he's getting in the car with his friends. Like, you don't have to do it in front of Decker. It's fine.
You're like, how'd I miss?
You know, have him be in shock. Holy shit, I missed this Dracula.
Well, that's that. You asked his mission. That is basically his mission, is to figure out why. That's what
Decker's mission is to figure out why.
No, Priest is. Priest's mission is to figure out why he can't kill Decker.
Sure, but we introduced Decker on like page 1, and he doesn't have a mission yet. So I'm still sticking with my previous comment about that.
Well, his mission is to fight the rebels.
Who's Hawks?
Business with the hard drive all about that?
That was what
I feel like you're making this more complicated than it used to be, John.
Okay.
Well, there's multiple plot, right?
You got to start with a single plot and then make it complicated. Don't start with 7 plots and then narrow it down by page 100. That's not fun to watch or read or whatever.
So who is Hawk? Did I miss that part in a previous script piece?
Nope. This was his introduction.
So he comes in, taunts him a little bit, and then leaves.
Yes.
Okay. And he's a teenager?
He's one of the rebels. Yeah, character's supposed to be about 17, human age 17. He's actually a vampire, you know. He was just, but yeah, supposed to be about 17 to 19.
So that part was a little bit confusing to me, who he was and why he was there. Unless that's just like a prequel to a later piece as well, where you explain that. But it just seemed odd that like all of a sudden he pops in, he fucks with them for a second, and then leaves, and there's no like who he is, what is he doing, why is he here?
Well, what he's doing is he's spying on Jefferson, and he leaves to go report to his boss, who is the leader of the rebels.
Okay.
So, John, I have a question.
Yeah.
Since this is basically a cops and robbers story, why aren't you making it more clear which characters are cops and which ones are robbers? With like Hawk, like, why isn't that interaction like, oh, go away, we don't need rebels here, the place is closed?
Because rebels are killed on sight. They don't know that they're rebels yet. They suspect. So
I will accept this.
Yeah, because basically the rebels are people
I have to take this.
Yep, you got it. So in the universe, and it's a little weird because basically you have the independents, which is basically Jefferson is quote unquote independent, which basically just means that they don't exactly align with the Empire, but they're not actively against the Empire. Where the rebels actively act against the Empire. The vampire from the beginning that Decker throws out a window that gets arrested and tortured is a rebel. And that is made clear in the very beginning. So that's where you were saying, what's the mission? The mission is the Empire versus the rebels. And that's basically what Decker is doing up until this moment when the hunters show up, who basically are just, I don't care if you're Empire or rebels, we're going to kill you both because you're vampires. And they start kind of wrecking shit.
Okay, so generally the plot structure of what you're describing is called a procedural, where you have incredibly episodic stories that just continue forever because our protagonists follow a procedure to fulfill their never-ending mission to defeat chaos / crime / international threats / whatever. That's not the vibe I'm getting from this book. I'm getting like our heroes are driving around waiting for a plot to happen to them still. Like, and even in a procedural, the mission every week is here's a single murder we need to solve or whatever. And I'm still not seeing any of that. Like there's no goal that all of these roadblocks and complications are making more difficult to attain.
Yeah, and if you're following like hero's journey style with Decker, there's no event that happens to him that he's like, now I have to avenge this person, or anything like
that. So again, that's fine. So the plot, the elevator pitch for this story is a vampire hunter and a vampire enforcer team up when an ancient vampire is resurrected that threatens to destroy both their worlds. The resurrection hasn't happened yet. So, to Danny's point, that is the eventual actual plot. Now, as I said, I say it 1,000 times, and I remind myself the line. Obviously, if I bore my audience to death before we get there, nobody's going to care when we get there. So,
I mean, I want to see this ancient vampire now. We're 40 pages in. If that's what I bought the book for, I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of action, but it is unclear as to what is the plot line.
What is part of my point in all of this, and why I felt like it was important to do this, was that I feel that it's important that to know what is at stake when the ancient vampire shows up, we need to understand the world. So all of this is, it's world building, so that when the ancient vampire shows up and starts wrecking shit, we know what our heroes are fighting to save and protect.
Okay, so I see how that's valuable, but your reader is going to be very confused by this because our heroes kind of hang around. Like, if I recall correctly, they just end up at the Jefferson Clinic. They're not told to go there for any reason.
There was that thing with Cherry.
They go to the Jefferson Clinic to pick up going back to
and now you have this hard drive plot going on that these vampire hunters spent a lot of time implementing, and then you cut to the scene where the evil vampires or whatever, the Vampire Society is doing stuff, but our heroes are never told we have to go protect that data, or we have to go protect this blood source, or anything.
So the hard drive plot really just exists to get people to the rebel base. It was a way I needed the Empire and the Hunters to not know where the rebel base existed or that it existed, but I also needed a way for them to find out that the rebel base exists so that they can both show up at the rebel base at the same time when the resurrection happens, because the resurrection happens at the rebel base.
I mean, it sounds a lot like you're trying to make your reader do their homework before they get to the good stuff.
No, what I'm trying, I'm the one trying to do the homework. I'm just trying. I don't want to just introduce my characters and then have them just magically show up at the rebel base and be like, "Oh, look at this rebel base! I didn't know this was here." So I'm trying to.
You could do that. You could be like, "Okay, hey, vampire cops, we're putting a SWAT team together because our guys found the rebel base." That's literally Star Wars. That's a fine plot structure.
Yeah, also, I would say with the world building, I don't think that it's necessarily great because you still don't understand that there's rebels, there's this legion of hunters, and you don't explain any of that stuff in the world building. So what you've built
was literally on page 12. Decker throws a rebel out the window of a 6-story building. They arrest him. They take him.
Yeah, and then like 4 pages later, after they arrest him, you explain that he was a rebel.
Yes, when he's being interrogated. I explain that he's a rebel.
There's no like empire, like the good empire, evil empire, whatever it is. That never gets explained. That they're all on like this one side, and then there's like a counter side to it, and then there's also independent. Like you don't know that reading through. At least what I've read of it. Like I don't get that of the world.
So John,
I don't know that exists.
I don't know if this is going to be helpful, but I think it might be. Your characters aren't big enough to just make us want to hang out with them. So give us a story to follow. Like, and that's a rewrite thing. That could be like a point of view thing. That could be a here's your mission for the next 5 pages thing. And then, oh, we need to go save the Jefferson Clinic. Oops, we got there. And now these fucking hunters show up and everyone complains about it because it makes their lives harder. Like, that's a buddy cop structure, but that's fine. But yeah, the characters, like, by themselves are not big enough to just make us want to hang out with them in their world. So we need to see what's at stake through the eyes of the characters by them talking about it, and not just by showing us. Like, they need to tell us too what they value, and why they're doing things, or what they need to do, or why doing those things is more than just their day job or whatever. Because right now it's a bunch of people who look cool doing cool stuff, but I'm not really getting to the connecting narrative yet. And if it's another like 20 pages before the ancient evil vampire shows up, like, all right, cool, but why didn't you just start there and then have everyone else try and keep like a failing society propped up while this ancient evil force is making life worse for everyone? Because that's a story that sounds fun from the beginning, that's easy to pay off.
I've debated starting at that point, but I don't know how. Again, otherwise I'm going to have all these characters showing up at this point, and then we don't know how they got there. Unless I want to do it through a bunch of flashbacks, and I really don't want to do that.
And I thought I remember in the beginning you said like the girlfriend was a big piece of it. That Decker, he was fighting.
That's what he is fighting for. That's his world.
And have we seen her? Has he mentioned her since in 40 pages?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, she doesn't get brought back in, and there's no threat to her, so to speak.
He's not like getting text messages during a car chase. Hey, baby, when are you coming home? Sorry, I'm really busy at work, honey. Can I call you in 10 minutes? None of that. You know, that would be character building and also explaining how it's important. Like, yeah. I mean, I know that building a big world is really hard, and you're actually doing a really good job of that. But like, I would like to see this world built, and have all of these threads like hang on the shoulders of the skeleton of a plot.
Yeah, and a thing I always like to reference for like really good world building is Dune. How they start with all kinds of crazy shit that you don't know what any of it means or who these people are. But as it progresses, it builds, and by the time you're like a little ways in, you get the whole idea of everything, and it's built up really well, from like a complete new world where you know nothing about it to all of a sudden you're right in the middle of all of the conflict that's happening between the different worlds.
And I will say, Dune does a good job of making a lot of the homework in the beginning like a thing that you care about, because it's about Paul.
Yep.
And he is going on, he has to go on this journey. He has no choice but to do this thing. His mother sold him out. All of that stuff is happening. And there is not just here's the homework. It's here's a character through which the homework is meant to matter. So, and also, you know, it's a comic, not an actual novel.
Right. That's, yeah. I mean, but the process of how they build the world, I think, is a really complex world, and they build it up from scratch really well within a few chapters of a novel, but
yeah, like, but then you've got like all this cool stuff really early is what I'm saying, like in the novel, like it's about Paul. So
no, I agree. Yeah.
Like, it's been a while since I've read Dune, and I know it's not got the greatest start, and I know it's a very exposition heavy book in general. But I mean, there are vampires, and there's some basic bitch stuff about vampires. There are probably humans who want to kill vampires. Maybe there are vampires who don't like vampire society. Vampires need to eat humans. There's immediate conflict. And all of the stuff that we've had happen, like the hunters showing up, they're not even really there to fuck with the vampires specifically. They're there to do stuff that is like meta on first mention.
Yeah, maybe they fuck with the girlfriend while she's at the laundromat in the first scene, and she doesn't tell Decker.
Or whatever. Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like we should have some explicit plot threads real soon. At any rate. Like, because you've got the threads, just you got to weave them into something. And by 40 pages in, we should know what the shape of that is.
Preston, are you back?
Yes.
You didn't give your constructives.
I thought it was fine. I mean, yeah, structurally, I will say that I've always thought it was wonky. That you're the character that really causes all the action. Your villain in essence doesn't show up until like page 50 or after. I think that's a problem. I've said it's a problem. In terms of these 10 pages, it was fine. But in terms of like the structure of your story, yeah, I don't like the fact that your villain comes in on page 50. I don't like it, but whatever, it is what it is. I've said it. You haven't changed it. Here we are.
So,
Well,
John,
that's mostly again. It's mostly just because I felt like I needed to establish more of the world before I start having her come in and start wrecking shit.
I mean, it's vampires. We get it. Yeah.
my question would be, John, do you have
Masquerade
the
now?
basic-
I'm sorry. Say
Go
what?
ahead, Danny.
No,
Or I was
go ahead, Kyler.
No, I was saying, do you have the structure of start to end of this book of the basic, like page 1 to 10, this happens, page 20 to
It's a 140-page screenplay. I started converting it into a comic. I got to about page 80, and then I stopped because I'm like, when I bring it to the stream, I might end up making changes. So what's the point of converting this entire, Actually, no, I think it's not. I think it's more like 110 pages. It's either 110 or 120 page screenplay.
So I would like to see, before we continue on, the like plot line and beats of like the story on what happens and how it unfolds, just so like a basic overview, which would make more sense while we're reading the individual pieces and how everything progresses, because a lot of this stuff that we're talking about might be resolved on the next couple pages. You keep saying, if we knew that ahead of time, then we could better reference.
Yeah, but like I always tell everybody in this stream, it doesn't matter what's on the next page. If people have gotten to page 40 and they're like, yeah, I'm done, nobody cares what's on page 41.
Well, if you're reading 100 and whatever it is page thing, you're going to assume that, you're going to read the whole thing.
I mean, I got Tyler's 200
whole book.
I got Tyler's 200-page book, and I got to about page 60 and got bored with it, put it down, and I haven't picked it up since.
Okay.
So,
if I buy something, I'm going to read it.
He's just another independent creator who put out a 200-page graphic novel. So I'm not saying it's like some, great, amazing work, but I mean, it is possible that that's a 200-page book and I didn't even get halfway through it when I put it down, and I have not even had an interest in picking it up since. So
right. I mean, I'm just saying, from my point of view, to like be able to give you proper critique on the storyline, like I need to know what that storyline is.
The storyline is Dracula's daughter gets resurrected and she starts wrecking shit because she's pissed off at her brother.
And then what?
And then Priest and Decker basically have to team up for their own independent reasons, which is what was supposedly to be established in the first 40 pages, which apparently I did not do a very good job of, and I need to work on that. But basically, they team up to fight her.
And then what?
They win.
Okay. So your story only has 3 and then what's. And
I mean, she really, really wrecks it. I mean, right now I'm estimating that the graphic novel would be about 160 pages. So she shows up at about page 60. So there's about 100 pages with her in it.
Right, but even in the world building, there should be, and then what? Like every 10 to 20 pages, I would say, to keep the reader engaged. Like you're saying, because we're never going to get there if we're bored, right? So like, what is the and then what in the beginning?
Well, that's the way I treat that. That's one of the things I like about how we structure our writer's stream, is that I treat every 10 pages that way. If I don't keep the person interested in the 10 pages that I'm presenting, then I know something's wrong. And sometimes I will wait a few weeks and I'll bring 10 and then 20 and then 30 to see if well, did that page 11 and 12 fix the problems from 1 through 10? Does the page 21 to 25 fix the problems from 1 to 20? And that's kind of how I look at it, because I look at it in both ways. So if somebody is not into the story by page 12, they're not likely going to be there on page 40. And again, we're also assuming that my Kickstarters get to a point where I can actually drop a graphic novel. Because if I'm still scratching and clawing my way over $15,000 a Kickstarter, there's no way in hell I'm dropping this as a graphic novel all at once, because I just can't afford that.
Well, if that's the case, then you really need to.
I know. Trust me, I have been contemplating how I want to do that in multiple different ways.
So my main thing though would be, and I don't know if Danny agrees with this or not, is that there should be some sort of mini cliffhanger within the first 20 to 30 pages, which we don't have. We have a lot of action, a lot of cool shit happening. I would still read the book and be like, oh, this is cool. It's a cool vampire story. But in terms of like and then what is the next piece of this story? How is it progressing? I'm not a technical writer, but just like the basics of keeping people engaged, in that there's some sort of problem that we have to solve, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what is the next piece of this? How is it going to be resolved? And that keeps you turning the page.
I mean, I agree something needs to happen. I'm not sure if that's the solution I'd recommend, but I've already recommended a couple of solutions. And I know John's not bad at bringing it together what he actually does, but like we'd be like just dragging through a lot of this stuff. And it's, yeah, like I would be interested to read this when it's reformatted. Right now it's 40 pages in, I'm bored. I haven't seen the ancient evil vampire.
Sexy vampire booby queen,
Yeah. So
No,
I was promised,
yeah.
an ancient evil vampire, and I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I'm a quarter of the way through the book. If I was reading this based on like a pitch at a con, I'd probably stop by now because I'm not getting what I was promised.
Right.
Anyway.
I got you.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys.
No problem. Next week, I'll definitely have some more Palace stuff. So
I'll probably have more Haunted Head.
Awesome, cool.
And I should have the second half of Alien Pterodactyls lettered.
All right, cool.
And I finished the second issue of Harpies, so I'll probably bring that in.
There we go. Awesome. All right, thanks so much. See everybody next week.
All right. Good night,
Cool.
everybody.
Later, guys.
Night, everybody.